The anniversary event starts on the 26th of May, and we already know the three event items we will get. So I'm going to talk about which of these items you should grind for in a point of view towards the gameplay. Of course, you should grind for the item you think looks the coolest, but which one will be the most efficient and the most useful in the current meta? I will do a video in the future showing you how you can do the infinite trials without needing to get a second controller or have a friend who is willing to grind with you. It's thanks to the cloud saves that we can do this on any console now. It used to be possible only on PC before, but now any console can do it. So if you don't have a second controller, you can just use the cloud saves to do infinite trials, and there, with the help of that, grind for the event items easily. Unfortunately, the items are just uh, following the pattern of being reskins of existing items, but it also makes it easier for us to evaluate how good they are. Let's start with the melee weapon, the Sparkler. It's a reskin of the Dancer's Sword, and just like the Dancer's Sword, it's a decent melee weapon, but nothing special. The speed is so slow that I recommend to get leeching on it, but it's fast enough that radiance can still work. The combo of the Dancer Sword is just 2 hits, meaning that Swirling and Shockwave work really well. The stats are close to the Tempest Knives, which some people think are among the best weapons in the game. And if you compare the stats, the Dancer Sword and the Sparkler will have a better area, but slightly worse speed and power. But because the combo of the Dancer Sword is just 2 hits, while the combo of the Tempest Knife is 3 hits, you can use the Swirling and Shockwave more efficiently. Now you don't need to get Swirling and Shockwave. You can also use Critical Hit Committed and Sharpness. Take these 3 and don't have any healing on the melee weapon, and just use the Lifesteal Aura from the Wither Armor and the Anima Conduit bow to heal. That works really well as well. So you have many damage options that all work well. So in conclusion, the Dancer's Sword is a mid-tier weapon. Like all the other event melee weapons, the Sinister Sword, which has exact same speed, slightly higher power but less area, and the Frost Slayer, they are all mid-tier. They can work if you get right enchantments, but nothing special. Next, we have the ranged weapon. It's the Sugar Rush. It's a reskin of the Pink Scoundrel. Unfortunately, the Pink Scoundrel is not a great ranged weapon. If I would use it, I would use it with Burst Bowstring and Cooldown Shot, and have anything Infinity, Temple Theft, Gravity, or anything else on the third slot. But it's not the best weapon for it, since it's not a soul bow and can't get the Anima Conduit. But it can work with Burst Bursting, Cooldown Shot, just those two if you don't have any other bow with that combination. You could also use it for Dynamo, but since it only shoots one arrow, I don't recommend it. It's a bow, so it can get the charged arrow shots, supercharged, cooldown shot, everything like that. But I don't recommend getting any damage enchantments, since the base power is so low, you won't be killing any mobs with the bow. Now compared to the previous event bows, the shivering bow, it was nice because it was a soul bow, it could get anima conduit. The haunted bow, it's just a normal twin bow, it's bad. So the sugar rush is better than the haunted bow, but worse than the shivering bow. Now the armor, sweet tooth, looks like a cake. I like how it looks, but the functionality is not there. Artifact damage is nice, but it doesn't have any synergy with the other effects. Weapon damage boost aura and gives a pet bat. You could make a summons build, use the beast burst, beast boss, everything like that. But since it doesn't have the shorter potion cooldown, the beast burst, which is the most important enchantment for a summon build in my opinion, won't work well because your potion cooldown is too long. Now it still has the weapon damage boost aura, and artifact damage means it works well with Power Shaker and a melee build. So if you're going for that, the standard cooldown, cover this, reckless, anything you want basically. Now, how I think these will be in the future. I don't think any of them will be viable as top builds ever. It's the same thing as we see with the Hungry Horror, which is arguably the best event item we've seen so far. I've never used mine, even though I have a good one when I got it. Cooldown, chilling, protection, it was a really good one. But I've never actually used it. I've used my Shivering Bow more because it has Anima Conduit. The reason why I don't use the Hungry Horror or any of the event items anymore is because they don't get the new enchantments. Like, I like how the Hungry Horror looks, but it can't have the life boost or reckless or any of the other new enchantments, so I won't be using any of my old items. I would need to get a new one with the new enchantments for it to ever be worth using. The most disappointing thing about the events is that they stopped giving us the event artifacts, because the corrupted pumpkin is the event item I'm used the most, because whenever I want to use a corrupted beacon, I just take the pumpkin because I think it looks more nice with the orange beam. And it's also the one I grinded for the most after the Hungry Horror.